You're live.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. We're going to start with our invocation, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would, please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and all the blessings you have given us. We thank you for the opportunity to serve the citizens of Elkins. We ask that you help us to keep open minds, civil tongues, and warm hearts as we work to grow our community. We also ask that you watch over and guide our country's leaders. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. I will now call our Common Council meeting to order and ask our city clerk to please take roll.
Councilor Bros-Friganera. Here. Councilor Chenoweth.
Here.
I have not updated my roll call. Councilor Carroll.
Here.
Councilor
You want to use my list?
Councilor Severino.
Here.
Councilor Kearns.
Here.
Councilor Pliszka.
Here.
And Councilor Hinchman.
Here.
Councilor Lowther is absent tonight. Councilor Parker.
Here.
And Councilor Thompson.
Here.
Did I get everyone? Yeah. You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone here tonight for public comment? Yes, sir. If you could please state your name and your address.
My name is Joshua Beauvais. My address is 167 Guy Street in Elkins, West Virginia.
And can you please use the microphone, sir?
Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
I guess from last time I need to get permission to discuss an issue that's not on the agenda.
Yes, that's correct. Can I ask what the topic is, please?
I would like to follow up on my statements from the last time I was here regarding the events at the city park on the 24th.
Does there anyone here have objection to speaking today? Go right ahead, sir.
I want you to imagine for a moment a grown man goes to the city park, to the playground, with a sign advertising who he chooses to have sex with. This man uses bright colors and images intended to attract and entice children to come up to him and discuss with him who he chooses to have sex with. Even if he's circumspect with the way in which he approaches this topic, it is still focused inherently and entirely on the sexual acts that he chooses to engage in. He has the express goal of advising the children that they too can and should engage in the same sexual acts. I would think that all of us would have the same problem with this. It's not okay. You don't discuss these sort of things with children. Grown men should not discuss sex, sexuality, or sexual acts with children, especially children that are not their own. I would think this would be inarguable. Why then is it differently? Why is it thought of differently whenever the man choosing to do this is gay? Why would it be different if this person is a teacher, a priest, a city councilman? I don't think it is. I don't think it's different at all. Yet this is what happened just under 2 weeks ago at the city park. There were displays all over the park right next to the playground with bright colors, playful imagery, stickers, and toys. These displays and attractions were right alongside adults openly and proudly discussing their sexuality and the sexuality of the children they brought with them and they solicited to attend. There were adults wearing quite revealing clothing, and others passing out condoms to anybody who wanted them. This was allegedly a family-friendly event. The last time I was here, I asked you to have this event moved to a more private, adult-only space. Aside from an adamant statement that this was not being sponsored by the city, a vocabulary lesson, and a call to principles of freedom of speech and access to public property, I was ignored. I think that it's clear I was ignored to the hot-button type of issue that this is, and the tendency of its supporters to enact violence, politically or otherwise. I'm not opposed to adults partaking in adult-only activities of nearly any sort, but with this event, the kids were the point. In New York City, just a couple of weeks ago, might have even been more recently, grown adults were participating in a pride parade, and they were chanting, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children." It's not a question anymore. It's absolutely the point. In every single example across the country of these events being moved to adult-only spaces or being required to bar children from attending, they cancel the events in protest. It's increasingly apparent to those of us paying attention that the children are the point. They're the target of these events. Conditioning or grooming is not something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens all at once. It's a process that takes a large amount of time where the grooming adult slowly exposes the children to increasingly sexual and increasingly explicit material and conversations, building their comfort level until the child is ready to be abused and exploited. We've seen in the Pride events in cities across the country that the next step of this process is drag. Drag is adult men parading around in women's clothing and engaging in explicitly sexual acts for the enjoyment of others and of themselves. This is a type of, I'm very nervous. This is a type of performance being pushed harder and harder onto kids. I would like to think that we could all agree that a child has no place in a strip club, no place in a boudoir show. Why then is it controversial to say that likewise the kids should not be at drag events? In Jefferson County, West Virginia, recently they passed an ordinance that reiterates what should already fall under federal law. No children should be permitted to attend any show that depicts, discusses, or simulates nudity, sexual content, sexual excitement, masturbation, or specific sexual activities. I call for this council to do the same as they did in Jefferson County. If I'm wrong in my claims and my beliefs, and I'm sure some of you believe that I am, and this is not the intention of these events, and that this community, then passing this law would have no harm on the LGBT community and no harm to this community of Elkins, West Virginia. I don't understand why it would be an inarguable resolution. If you believe I'm wrong, then what harm would come from passing it? You would be merely passing a symbolic resolution to protect children. Seems pretty inarguable for me. If you believe I'm right, then why not pass it? I don't want to be here today. I'm nervous, I'm sweating, I don't like talking in public. I don't want to have to be the one that pushes this issue. However, principles don't matter when they're convenient. I'm here on principle and to be inconvenient. I am here because it is my belief that these people will not stop to push to sexualize children, and they are not going away, and so neither am I. Some of you won your seats on this council with as few as 24 votes in the past election. Some of you ran unopposed and yet managed to earn less than half of the support of those who voted. I'm not a wealthy man, nor am I possessing of undue influence on this community, but if you're unwilling to pass such a painfully obvious ordinance, it will be my goal to ensure that the people of this city, including your future opponents for the seats that you occupy, know your name and know that you refuse to stand for the protecting of their children. Once again, and in conclusion, I call upon you to add to this meeting's agenda or to the agenda of a future meeting to pass an ordinance banning sexual and obscene behavior in front of children. If you do not, I demand that you explain individually why this behavior should be allowed in front of children. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else here for public comment tonight? If not, we'll move down to the minutes portion, and I will entertain a motion to accept the proposed minutes from the June 15th, 2023 meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. The minutes for the June 19th, 2023 meeting. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Proposed minutes for the June 22nd, 2023 canvassing board. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Under your correspondence and notifications, you have the 2023 Council Committee assignments. It's been, I think, Sutton graciously provided to you. And now we'll go down to our committee reports. And they've got everybody out of order for me, so we're going to start with Councilor Parker this time. Usually you close the show for me, so.
I do. I'm not used to being an opening act.
I know. You're the headliner typically, right?
Yes. Actually, I have no report this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Bras-Faganera. Use your microphone, please.
Okay, I'm trying to think what hat I should be wearing. I'll talk about the tree board just for a bit, because I haven't had a chance to deal with the new committee assignments, but one of the exciting things that the tree board has been able to purchase 16 fabulous trees, and we're looking for people to adopt them in different wards. We have the ones in 4th Ward sort of spoken for. If our goal is to replace trees that had to come down because they aged out or storm damage, whatever. So if you know of a tree in your ward, please contact myself or Marilyn, who's the chair of the tree board, and we'll take care of that. We're trying to get new trees in all the wards, and they're honking big trees. They're $180 trees, so there's no little seedlings. So just let us know. And that's it.
Thank
And
you.
tree board won't be meeting in July.
Thank you. And I know we've called this committee reports for years, but this is also an open forum for council to share any other ideas or thoughts or stories that they have at this time. So, Councilor Pliszka, welcome.
No reports?
Okay, there you go. Councilor Hinchman.
Yes, sir. In the year we just finished in 2023, Elkins grew by 10.54%, which is 93 brand-new jobs that hasn't been there. In the last 2 years, we've grown by 22.26%, which is 189 brand-new businesses. Now, ranking us, if you look at it with the 93 businesses, that's 23 in the state out of 1,052, or that puts us in the top 2%. Then if you looked at overall businesses, we rank at 17 in that, which brings us up to 1.62%. So we're doing well.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Chenoweth.
With respect to Personnel Committee, I don't have a report. We haven't met since the last council meeting, but we do have a meeting next Thursday, July 13th, 12 noon here in City Council chambers.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Kearns, welcome.
Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Severino.
No report.
Thank you. Councilor Carroll.
I just want to share a little bit from the Kump Education Center. They recently had the Wild Wonderful Woods event, successful pie auction that was about $3,000 in fundraising. The Humanities Council supported some new interpretive signs, so if you've not been in the Kump Center to see these interpretive signs, you almost certainly should get through the structure soon, and you have a great opportunity. Every Tuesday, the rest of the summer, it'll be open from 3 to 5 for folks to go through the house and see the great work that's happened there. And then also recently, 70 school kids went through the property with YMCA programs and the Randolph County Schools Summer Soul program. So lots happening with the Kump Center.
Excellent, thank you. Councilor Thompson, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I just want to give a quick update that the Elkins Pride in the Park was a wonderful event filled with lots of happy people, including myself, and I was very happy to attend it.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving down to the staff reports, and we'll start with Chief Bennett.
Good evening. In June, the Elkins Police Department responded to 548 calls for service that generated 27 cases, resulting in 21 arrests and 3 criminal citations issued. Other things we had going on here recently, the last week of June, we hosted a first-line leadership training course. We had everybody from the rank of corporal up from our department attend that, as well as some deputies from Tucker County were here for that. Our hiring process is down to 2 applicants for 3 positions, and we're currently in the background phase for that now. The 17th through the 21st of July is the World Association of Marching Show Bands event in Buchanan. We'll be assisting the Buchanan Police Department with that the entire week by sending officers over. That event will impact our city as well. With the numbers that are expected to attend, I think the last that I heard was between 50 and 70,000 people. It's going to fill all of our hotels, Buchanan, Weston, Clarksburg, everybody. So we'll see a huge influx of people in town throughout that week, which will make everything busier, including traffic. So we're ready for that. And the last thing I want to talk about is, I hope you guys seen the presentation yesterday where Randolph County was designated a high-intensity drug trafficking area. While I hate that we have that designation because it tells us what we got here, but we've been saying it for a long time, that designation means a whole lot to us and will go a long way in our efforts to combat it by giving us more funding to work on those types of cases, by giving us access to more resources, even down to the DEA placing an agent in Elkins. So I'm very glad to see that happen. This is something that we've been working on for about 5 years now to get that designation. So I'm glad to see it finally came through. That's all I have this evening, unless anybody has any questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Kethiker.
Mayor and Council, good evening. I have a brief report to give to you this evening. We're still in the process of getting the bids ready to be sent out for the HVAC system, which we desperately need. If you go up on the 3rd floor, it's quite warm. And also for the sanitation garage that we're wanting to build. So hopefully by the next council meeting, I'll have a lot more information on those 2 projects. During the July 4th weekend, the festivities that took place downtown, I want to take a moment to just comment on what a great job our street department did in assisting that to make sure it went off without any problems. They made sure the trash was picked up. They made sure the place was presentable to everyone that was there. It was one of those things that they went above and beyond the call of duty to do it. And I commend Sean and his crew for doing that. The past couple weeks, we've had a couple meetings with the mayor and other city representatives and other employees regarding the ongoing stormwater issues throughout town. I know it's a wheel that turns slowly, but progress is being made. And we continue to bounce ideas off each other, and we feel the collective effort is helping us move forward and getting some ideas on how to address these situations. In elaborating on that, I have also personally met with some citizens at the location to look at their concerns, to offer temporary fixes, to see if we could do it in phases. We've got some good reviews on what we've done so far, and I have some more meetings scheduled with other citizens coming up this month that I'm going to go to their location and see what we can do to help them until we can have a more permanent plan and permanent fix in place. But I'm excited about the direction we're going. I think those meetings are very productive. The bad news is I've posted 4 jobs online, 3 for the street department, 1 for sanitation department. So we're down on employees right now. We're hoping to get a good group of applicants to come in and have some tough decisions to make when we want to hire. So hopefully that goes pretty quickly. Been doing some research on the pest control situation. I've talked to Tracy about it. I've talked to others. I don't know if we have a contract for pest control citywide or not for the buildings. To my knowledge, we don't. If we do, if someone can provide me with it, it'd be great. But if we don't, I would like to put that out to bid as well, because I feel like we could better ourselves financially, get better service, and probably save money by getting a contract with someone. So I'm looking into doing that in the near future as well. Close my report, as I always do, with code enforcement. Again, tremendous job. High grass, 10 warning letters sent, 5 are now in compliance. Trash, 3 warning letters sent, 1's now in compliance out of those 3. We have sent 3 warning letters for new vacant structures. 1 has already been registered. 12 warning letters for derelict vehicles. 8 are now compliant. 2 have been towed. Rental inspections, we did 14 rental inspections. 1 inspection is complete and the certificate of occupancy has been issued. We did 20 building permits. We denied 1 building permit. We did 4 zoning permits. The 4 structures that have been up for demolition, the asbestos has been abated. We're waiting for the reports to come in to verify that. Once they do, we'll send those reports to the demolition company, and they will be scheduled for demolition in the very near future. So we're moving forward on that relatively quickly as well. Other than that, that's all I have to report, or I can answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Judy.
Good evening. In your packet, I put in there from January 1st till about July 4th, it shows historical information on our online bill pay. We have had approved transactions of 13,739. And keep in mind, when that happens online, that's less work that my workers have to do in office. Right now, for the new online bill pay site, it's scheduled for the end of July. At that point in time, we'll be able to take payments for anything that is billed, B&Os, business licenses, building permits, as well as utilities and fire fees. So
That's
that will
also a
be-
state requirement, though, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll
The
be
due
compliant.
date on that was March of 2023, but because of the influx of everyone, every municipality and county having to do that, we were able to show that we were in the process of doing it, and the state has been very patient with us. Also, I've been working on police and fire data collection reports for the Pension Oversight Board, beginning to gather information for the financial statements and PSC reports. Both are due by the end of September. The office has mailed out the second quarter B&Os, which are due by July 31st, and business licenses were due July 1st, so they're looking to see possibly who hasn't made a payment. And then finally, tonight, Resolution 1676 is a coal severance budget revision. This is required by state code, must be approved by July 15th, submitted to the state auditor's office. Basically, it's just showing what our actual fund balance is for coal severance. And so I hope you approve it, because we need to. That's all I have. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Himes.
Good evening. Month of June was a little slow for us. We had 46 calls for service, bringing us to 315 for the year. That's about 4% above where we were this time last year. As I'm sure everybody's aware from the fire we had Sunday evening down here behind the post office. I'd like to thank our mutual aid partners for coming in and giving us a hand. We investigated that today with 2 representatives from the State Fire Marshal's office, so that cause has been determined and property owners have been notified. Today, we had started pump testing on all the apparatus today. I don't believe he got finished today. He's going to come back and finish up in the morning, but so far everything's been working as it should. We'll start servicing the apparatus next week with annual oil changes and those things. Did get an update on the new engine today. The cab should be coming out of the paint booth next week, and they have a target for chassis completion August 11th. At that point, it will go to another facility within the company to be outfitted with the pump and the body and everything finished up there. So as far as I know, everything's still on track. Lastly, Wes wanted me to, because he was unable to make it tonight, is speak about the PSC complaint that you may have seen in, I believe it was Monday's newspaper, where the State Public Service Commission has sent a survey and a deadline for all water utilities to report on the status of their fire hydrants. Based on performance by the water department over the last 18 months to 2 years and the recent ISO evaluation that was done on the fire department, I believe that we're going to be in pretty good shape as far as this is not so much compliance, but I'd say that's probably where it's going to lead. So Wes and I are going to start working on that tomorrow. We have a deadline of July the 28th to have that submitted. And I know that there's roughly, I want to say 326 fire hydrants in the city. And that's not counting the really, really old ones that we don't use. So I'm going to assume that those are going to be included in that tally. So, but we have to pin this down to line size, age. There's several criteria that they're looking for. I can't assure you that we are in a lot better shape than probably some other places in the state. So, but we'll be cracking on that tomorrow, so get that completed for the PSC. If anybody has any questions for me.
Actually, Chief, I want to commend your department for containing the fire as quickly as they did on Sunday. Excellent work, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Stokes.
Well, since the last meeting of full council, we took the final procedural steps to put the election to bed finally. Obviously, we knew the results already, and we have new members sitting here. But in the meantime, we had to take the certification steps with the canvassing board. Had 6 council members that were able to show up for 2 meetings to do that. And then one of the final steps, I'll just crow a little bit. Without going into a ton of detail, there's records that get turned into the county clerk because they maintain the voter histories and basically process all the records that were kept at the polling places in the big books. And they're able to then run a report and see how many people they ended up updating voting records for. And it was really awesome that their number matched my number. So that's a relief, but it also means that the poll workers did a really good job keeping track of every single voter. There wasn't a slip that was missed, because then that wouldn't have been counted. So as always, and I can't believe it, I've talked to a couple of them since then, and they're all eager to come back. Maybe one wasn't, who was just trying it out, but it really is impressive that people are willing to come back every time and do that, and we should all be grateful. Welcome to our new council members. We've been, it's been a first, not a total first, but a first in a while for me to be getting new council members onboarded, getting them into the city system with various things, getting computers set up. So we're nearing the end of that, just a few final steps to get their laptops issued to them, and then of course I hope everyone will continue to make them as welcome as you've been so far. Others mentioned hiring. We do have the comms position open again, so I am looking for a communications person. So if you see the listing on the city website under employment opportunities, if you have a network that you'd want to push that out to, that couldn't hurt. That's all I've got, unless anyone has any questions.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any particular comments other than to welcome all the new members of council. Good to see all these new faces, and I think it's going to be a change for everyone. But I'm excited about it. I think we've got lots of good things that have been going on and certainly can carry going forward. So I've reached out to all the new members so they know how to get hold of me. Pretty easy to find most of the time if I'm here in the building, and you also have my cell phone and email. I don't have anything particular on the items that are on the agenda. When we get to them, if you have a question, I'll be happy to answer it at that time. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move down to the approval of the vendor invoice payments. I'll entertain a motion to accept the invoices as presented from June 12th to June 30th.
Motion to pay the AP.
Okay, we have a motion. Any comments or discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Down to new business. Ordinance 316, an ordinance of the Common Council of Elkins, West Virginia, amending and reenacting City Code Chapter 90, Animals. This is the final reading. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
Okay, I was hoping you'd be the one to make that motion.
Yeah, my last thing.
Exactly. We have a motion. Any questions or comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1675, implementing a new rank structure in the Elkins Police Department. Chief, do you want to explain this?
Sure. Basically, what this is going to do is eliminate the rank of first sergeant and replace that with a lieutenant. It'll allow us to divide the department into 2 platoons, with one platoon being responsible for one shift, day shift, another platoon being responsible for night shift. The way that we're set up, working 12-hour shifts, we basically have 4 shifts of officers. This will give ownership to a lieutenant of two of those groups of officers to manage. I think it'll be very beneficial to us in terms of putting a supervisor of at least the rank of sergeant on every shift all the time. And if that person, if the lieutenant's not on that shift, the sergeant would be on the opposite one. If one of those are on leave, there would still be at a minimum a corporal to be there and run the shift. I think it would just be much more efficient that way.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any other comments or questions? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. As Tracy mentioned previously, the resolution 1676 is a coal severance fund budget revision, which is due by July 15th. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion, and this is a roll call vote, so I'll ask our clerk to please take roll.
Yeah, for the new council members, the state auditor simply requires that all of these types of budget revisions be done by everyone's individual vote being recorded. So I'll just read your names. You can say your vote, yea or nay. Councilor Ross-Ferganera.
Yay.
Councilor Chenoweth.
Yes.
Councilor Carroll.
Yeah.
Councilor Pliszka.
Yes.
Councilor Kearns.
Yay.
Councilor Hinchman.
Yes.
Councilor Lowther is absent. Councilor Parker.
Yes.
Councilor Severino.
Yes.
And Councilor Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, sir. Okay, resolution 1677, amending the memorandum of understanding between the Kump Education Center and the city of Elkins. I will entertain a motion to accept, please. Okay, we have a motion. Any questions or comments?
Was this drafted by our city attorney?
Yes, it was. We've always had an agreement with the Kump Education Center. Sometime this spring, there was a request, and several members of the board met with the new operations manager and me. We went over some questions they had. This draft was sent to the Municipal Properties Committee. There were some questions about insurance that got changed, and I believe everyone at the Kump Education Centers had an opportunity to see it. And basically, well, you can see the places where it's in yellow are the changes that were made. Not a lot of substantive changes, just a few. So everyone's on board, and if you all vote for the resolution, the mayor can sign off on it. We can get the Kump Education Center folks to sign on too, and we'll have a new agreement.
Any other questions or comments?
I'd like to recuse myself from this since I'm on the Comp Center board.
Thank you, sir.
Is there a time period to it, or?
It renews itself year to year unless you give adequate notice, one of the other parties gives adequate notice that they want to change it, sever it, whatever.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, this has been a quick meeting so far tonight. Moving down to mayor's comments. I'll try to keep them brief since it's getting kind of toasty in here, as always, when you have 80-plus degree weather out there. I will say the 4th of July celebration, as Mike said, was a tremendous gathering of our citizens downtown, and we are very blessed to have the staff that we do that, helps present our city in a very positive light. We're also very blessed to have the volunteers that we have to pull off such events like this, the car show and the live music and the fireworks and everything. So, kudos to them and a shout out for just a tremendous effort and a great celebration over the weekend. This upcoming weekend, we have another group of volunteers, Citizens Promoting Community, that are holding another event in the downtown area at the depot, and I like that venue, so we should utilize it as much as possible. Once again, they'll have live music, they have a cornhole tournament, they've got a ton of activities for the kids, so they're there from 1 to 8, so if you have time, swing by, say hello, and see what our community has to offer. As Chief and I had mentioned earlier, with the World Association of Marching Show Bands is going to be hosted by our sister city of Buchanan, and that is going to impact our community as well. So when you see the folks out, ask them where they're from, because this is a worldwide event, so we have several nations that are represented. I know that we'll put on our great hospitality face like we always do and make people feel welcome. But you're right, Chief, our hotels, our restaurants are going to be packed. It's a great economic impact for us. But I also want, if you get an opportunity, to go over and support them and watch some of the shows. I mean, this is tremendous. Only the second time it's been held in the United States. So that's a big deal. It's a really big deal. So, I commend them. And then Senator Manchin was yesterday, or was here in Elkins yesterday to announce the HIDA designation for this region, as Chief mentioned previously. And when you think about the resources and the funding associated with that, and then also the West Virginia First Foundation that we are part of because this council has agreed to be part of that MOU, we now have the ability to help our citizens and our families and our friends that have been impacted by this horrific pandemic or epidemic or whatever it is. I mean, we have to start slowing it down. And then we know there's phases. And Dave Parker's our chair of our task force, you know, that deals with the addiction, homelessness, and mental health. But I really feel like this will help us, you know, get some more resources. We are fortunate that the region that we're in right now had a lot of resources available, but we still have deficiencies. This will hopefully help bridge some of those voids that we currently have. We need more treatment facilities. We understand that. We've been working on that with other surrounding counties, as Dave reported previously. So, and then for law enforcement to be able to help slow the flow into the county and in the surrounding counties, that'll be tremendous as well. So it's going to be a team effort, obviously, but I do feel like, you know, it's a big deal. You know, we can't downplay this really. And like I said, hard work by our sheriff's department. I mean, they did a tremendous job. Sheriff Albin did a tremendous job helping push this as well. So Travis, thank you for that. And with that, I can say meeting adjourned.
Oh, can I, I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll do an alibi for you, Nancy. How's that?
Sorry. I just want to remind folks about the open house or the public forum regarding the event center.
Okay.
Right? That's Tuesday, I believe, 6:30 at the Wood Tech Center. Is that what everybody else has?
Yes.
But since the city did provide a substantial contribution to the event center, I think it would behoove everybody to attend that event.
Good catch. Thank you, Nancy. I'm glad to give you the alibi for that one. So, anyone else? Okay, meeting